Hello everyone, and welcome back to Kentucky Garden Gal. This is Nancy, and we are at the home of Junior and Shelia Logan. And you know we love to come out here because they do the best and the most fun projects. Junior likes to browse Pinterest, and he's Amazon's best customer. And you can just see all the wonderful things that they like to do. So today we want to showcase his raised beds, and we have pictures. Believe it or not, this is the 10-year anniversary of when he put the soil in his raised beds to get what you see behind me started. So you'll see how he started, and then you'll see what he's added slowly over time. And we are a huge fan on this channel of use what you have, start where you are, do what you can. So look around, see what you have around the house that you can use, maybe what family or friends have. Look on Facebook Marketplace. We even look on the side of the road. So we just find all kinds of treasures. But let's get started with this week's video. And by the way, it is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of you lovely mothers out there. Okay. So we're going to start where it all began, and Junior is going to tell us the story of how he came to have these raised beds.
Well, 10 years ago, I was lucky enough to have a friend that was wanting to get rid of some landscaping timbers, so I inquired about them and was able to get them for free. So we started out with 4 boxes. And this is how the process started. It takes 18 landscaping timbers to make a box. And so we were lucky enough to get this ball rolling, and we've enjoyed it ever since.
Okay, so let's start from the very basics. You have got your boxes going north and south.
Correct.
So that's what you want to do, folks, when you're putting, starting a raised bed, north and south. Now, the general rule is they need to be no more than 4 feet across, and the idea is that you can actually reach across. You don't have to, crawl or whatever. You can reach right across to the center of your raised beds. Now, as far as the length, it's up to you. Whatever length that you want to do, that's what you can do. As far as the soil, I have seen a lot of statistics that say that you can start out with 4 to 6 inches. And that's true. But we know the soil, your soil is your secret to success. So the deeper you can have your raised beds, first of all, you're not leaning over as far. And second of all, you want to be able to put the very, very best soil in your raised beds. Now, soil is expensive. If you're going to the big box store and you're buying soil, it is expensive. So you can kind of cheat a little bit. When I first did my raised beds, I actually had cut down just a small tree. So the bottom of my raised bed was logs. And when I did my container gardening in the plastic barrels, I actually started out with straw. And of course, anything that will compost down, you can start out with, but be aware that every year you will need to add soil to your boxes. Okay, so let's talk about, this was the first thing that you did, Junior. So then what was the second thing that you did?
Well, the second thing, like I say, we laid them out. The boxes are like 4 by 8 boxes. That's what your landscaping timbers measure. We filled up with compost, any kind of dirt. I used some old mulch to start to get the first layer, and then we added to it. We put the mattings down, and that keeps the grass and stuff from coming in it. That was just a plus for us. You don't want to have to weed all the time, and by raising these up, that kind of eliminates all the weeds. And they're easy to, if you get a little something, you can go right around and pick it right out. So that's kind of really where we started.
So then, after the 4 original boxes, did you add these 2 later?
We added 2 more boxes. These are probably 2 years old now.
Okay.
And then I was lucky enough to get some cattle, their water troughs that I picked up, pretty cheap. And so we're just utilizing everything. These started out as just for flowers. So we just kind of growed with it, and we just added our strawberry barrels. So that's kind of where we are now.
Okay, so we did a video just a few weeks back on these strawberry barrels. Junior had the plastic barrels. He showed us how to cut them, how to make the pockets, and if you look, he's got a tube in here. If I can get the lid off. Can I get the lid off of this, Junior, or do you have to?
It'll probably take 2 hands.
Okay, so let's just show everybody what you did with this.
This is where you can add your compost, and you can add worms to this.
Okay.
So they're going to fertilize. So I've got some cabbage shoved in there now.
Okay.
For the worms to eat on.
And then down at the bottom, you have where you can get the compost tea, right?
That's right. You can drain, and you can put that right back in on top of your strawberries to fertilize.
Wonderful. So as you can see, I'm going to step back so you can sort of see the whole raised bed. And we measured this off. It is 25 by 25. So that is the area that he has this raised bed in. And let me tell you, you would not believe, we'll go over just in a little bit all of the produce that he and Sheila and the herbs that he has that he's growing in here. But this just grows an incredible amount of food, and not only that, it's absolutely beautiful. So we know he started out with the 4 original beds. He added 2 more. He was able to acquire the cattle troughs. Now you do have to put holes in the bottom of those. All right, then the next thing that you're going to notice are these cattle panels right here. And this is just a cattle panel that you go, our local Tractor Supply is where he gets them. So you want to come and show us how you put these in, Junior, how they're attached?
Yeah, what we have done, these are electric fence post rods that I have drove down in the tank and then strapped, after we bow these over, we strap them to it so it cannot go anywhere. Now I went on and cut these so they would go all the way to the bottom to fit it, so they would stay there. And that's kind of what I did with the other ones. I done T-posts on those and drove in and then fastened them to them just so it'll keep that arch and not go anywhere.
And so what will you have growing up these cattle posts?
Right now on these we've got green beans and peas to grow up these on this, and then on the other ones we got 2 types of cucumbers that are growing. So, and it makes it so much easier as they grow that they'll hang through and you can just pick them.
Just walk through and pick your
pick.
produce. Yep. Well, let's walk through here and check out what he's got.
And you can see
look at the
squash. Squash is already growing.
So 4
hills of squash.
Well, 4 hills of squash, and then these are the green beans
these
over
are the
here.
Cucumbers.
Or cucumbers.
Cucumbers
okay.
here, yeah.
So you've got 4 squash and 1, 2, 3, and 4 green beans in this one.
Cucumbers.
Cucumbers, I'm sorry. I keep saying green beans.
And cucumbers here.
Okay.
This is the like the pickling type cucumbers over here.
Yeah. And now it looks like you've got some watermelon.
These are some more squash. These are supposed
squash.
to grow straight up.
Okay.
So we got some plants to try.
Well, wonderful.
I had planted 3 hills, and I believe the cats has scratched these out.
And let's check out this water trough over here. You've got...
And these are peas. These are that's growing here, and the green beans on the other side. I think these are another type of peas. I get them backwards. Yeah, these are peas, and the other ones are green beans. I think that's the way it is.
You've got herbs behind.
And we got herbs. There's some dill growing, and then we got some fennel on this side.
Mm-hmm.
Just try to utilize the space.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you see on the other ones, there's tomatoes, There's zucchini.
And I'm going to step back because I want you to look at how he does his tomato stakes. And let me tell you, folks, they grow to the top. They have more tomatoes than you could ever imagine. And it looks like in this bed over here, there's 8 tomato plants. And then in this one, there's also 8 tomato plants. And you'll see what is this here in this bed, Junior?
Zucchini.
This is zucchini. And then this is cilantro that actually seeded itself and came back.
Right.
Right? And then over here, they have the peppers and onions and then more cilantro. Okay, so let me show you what they've done. Last year, they had someone come in, and this comes off of their back patio, which has the beautiful koi pond. They had somebody come in and put these pavers in. And look at how nice this is. This just looks so nice. They have flowers at the end. And then this year, they added potatoes. They are growing potatoes. And you want to talk about your potatoes?
This was something to try with the grandkids. Our oldest grandchild came and helped us plant potatoes in laundry baskets. So we're going to give it a shot and see how we do. So there is 2 different varieties. You got Kennebecs, and then there's a purple potato. And we just thought it would be fun for the grandkids to be able to take these apart and harvest them later on in the fall. But just something new to try.
And I was going to point out, I bet you have the marigolds here because they repel bugs.
That's true.
Yeah,
That
so
is
make
true.
sure that you have you plant your marigolds next to your vegetables because that will help with repelling the bugs. And now let's talk about these little silver things that you have up here.
That is to keep the birds and stuff from coming in and pecking on your tomatoes. It's real shiny, so birds do not like any kind of motion in the wind like that you're blowing it, so they will not come in here. So that's the reason we got that, something that we've had good success with, to keep the birds out.
And then right behind you, I see an owl. So tell me how you use your owl.
We try to move him around, and it's another way to deter the birds from coming in here and pecking on all your vegetables. So we relocate him every 3 or 4 days. So that's the reason he's in the garden. And it does help, it does, but you have to move them.
So folks, as you can see, this garden not only will feed his family, it is absolutely beautiful, and just recently he added lights around his garden space, his raised bed, so at night, of course it's beautiful everywhere here, but at night now the garden is lit up, and I want him to tell you how he did this.
Well, as Amazon, we ordered a 100-foot strand of lights. And so I drove a metal T-post in where I wanted them to come to. Got a piece of 3/4-inch conduit and put a bolt up there. And that way you just hook the lights in it. Just, kind of went all the way around and draped them. So if you need to change a bulb, all you'd have to do is cut a strap and lay it down, and then you can get to any of them to work on without climbing a ladder. But it's just something new to add to it this year.
Well, you have certainly added a lot to this raised bed just over time, starting out 10 years ago, the 10-year anniversary today, starting out. So this is what he and his wife Sheila have built in 10 years, and they've only been retired, how long, Junior?
About 3 years now.
3 years. So they were working full-time, both of them, and still able to maintain this. But obviously, since retirement, it's gone into overdrive. And tell us about your mailbox here behind us.
Everybody needs a mailbox in their garden. That way you're not running back and forth to a garage or shed to get your tools. So we keep everything right here. If you need any gardening tools, we use stuff like this to strap up the tomatoes.
Can you show us how that works?
Yeah. we'll see if we can. But they use these in nurseries to tie up plants.
It's called, what would it be called?
It is a strapping tool. It's,
strapping tool.
But it's real simple. You can pull up your tomato plant and just keep shoving it to go around it. And then just get it where I can squeeze it here. Squeeze it, and that's it.
Wow.
And there your tomatoes tied up.
Easy. Easy, easy.
The simplest way that we found. We used to cut strings and do all that. This is so much faster and easier.
Do you remember what you paid for that?
They on Amazon, and I want to say they were probably $25, something like that.
Okay. Okay.
But it's simple to use.
Okay, now let's talk about compost, Junior, because, you know, we keep talking about how important it is for you to have good soil, whatever you're growing, whether it's vegetables, fruit, trees, shrub, flowers, whatever it is, your soil is your most important component. So let's talk about compost. And I know that recently you went and bought
a trailer load.
A trailer load. Let's walk over to the compost.
Okay, we'll go look at the compost.
And you know what? And we'll walk past the pond because it's always so much fun to see the fish. And there's the waterfall. Okay, so this is his trailer of compost, and if I remember correctly, this was 3 scoops, right, Junior?
It was 3 scoops.
And how much was it a scoop?
It was $35 a scoop.
Okay, so $35 a scoop, and what's the trailer size?
That's a 16 by, it's 7-foot trailer. And so it held, you know, quite a bit. I've used quite a bit of it.
Right.
But it is horse and cow manure that they have rotated for a year. And so you want something that's where it does not burn up your plants while you're, you know, trying to grow. And plus we add the chicken manure too every time we clean out. And we try to do that using the chicken manure in the fall so it rots all winter. So that way you're not burning up plants. It has time to rest. But this is pretty good stuff here. So we've used it on the strawberries. We've filled up the rest of the beds in the garden. And it's working out real good.
So I guess the most important thing that we can tell the folks watching is that you can compost whatever you have in your yard. Like I compost my grass clippings and leaves. And those you can pretty much use as soon as it breaks down. So the secret to that is you want to keep them moist, and then you want to keep a black plastic over it to help it to break down.
The heat breaks it down.
So I'll put the visual up of some things that you can use. But I encourage everybody to start a compost pile because it's just so important to make your own compost. So there's that type of compost, and then the animal compost, that would be considered a hot compost. So that's why you have to let it set. It has to set for a while. It needs to be turned. Now there's some things like the rabbits. If you have rabbits, their compost, their manure, is called cold compost, and you can literally plant directly in the manure of the bunnies because that's a cold compost. But you know, if you aren't at a place where you can even start gardening, start composting.
Right.
Start saving your eggshells, your coffee grinds, your tea bags, things like that. Just take a little corner and start composting because you are going to have a lot of soil for all of this. And I was going to show everybody. He does have, this is some soil that I think he said he got this at Ace Hardware.
I believe so. That's where
Yeah, Ace Hardware. So that if he needed some extra soil, he does have some soil. And then the compost in here. And as you can see, the next project is on its way. Show us what you got, Junior.
We have some tubs that we can fill up, put some, you can put herbs in this or flowers or just, whatever. And it has a watering tube for it. But that's going to be the next thing we fill up. So we've got plenty of soil to put in them.
And these are on wheels.
Right, they can move around.
Yeah, so this would be perfect if you just wanted some tomato plants on your patio, something like that. But yeah, he and Sheila always have the next project going on. So folks, we want to thank you so much for watching this video. Again, it's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And thank you so much for supporting this channel, and just let us know what you're growing, and we hope that we've helped you and most of all encouraged you. So have a blessed rest of your week.